Good afternoon, sir. My name is Adekunle Oladipekun, and I'm the team lead of this initiative. Basically, the initiative strives to bridge the gap between young lawyers and senior advocate of Nigeria, the big wigs in the profession. And it's good to have you on the show today, sir. Permit me to also congratulate you on your elevation to the Inaba. Congratulations once again, sir. So quickly, my viewers would like to meet you, sir.
All right. My name is Olumide Olujinmi. I'm a legal practitioner. I got called to the bar in 2004, and I started the Abuja practice of the law firm. As of course, a new week. I can assure you that it was a challenging process for me when we opened an office without any brief. You understand? And hoping the briefs will come in. So what I had to do was sell myself out there, make sure I make friends with people, and make them have trust in me to be able to give me their job. So, of course, before I got to that stage, naturally, I attended the primary school in Ibadan Alafia Institute. Went over to Lagos afterwards for my secondary school education, Mainland Comprehensive Secondary School. Then from there, I proceeded to the University of Ibadan, where I bagged my LLB. Then, of course, to the Nigerian Law School, Abuja, where I got qualified as a legal practitioner in 2004. Yeah, it was only years down the line that I attended the Oxford University for a program there. And of course, along the line, I attended several training programs just to build capacity over the years. That's basically me.
Thank you so much, Dennis. So along the line, you actually not told us when you attained the silk, or well, maybe let's come back to that later. So if I may ask, what is the drive? What is the motivation? Because it is right to assume that probably because that is one of the foremost legal practitioner in the country. Could that be the motivation, or you have a personal drive to become a lawyer?
Okay. I've always had this notion that anything worth doing at all is worth doing well. I can assure you, if I was a Yoruba teacher, I'm so confident that I'll be celebrating being one of the top most Yoruba teachers in the world. You understand? If there's anything like that. If I was a potter, I intend to put my effort into it to be celebrated as one of the best potters around. So as I found myself in legal practice, the motivation was just to be among the best, to be very good at it. Before I even got called to the bar, I got the opportunity of studying my father, who is a legal practitioner, a senior legal practitioner, senior advocate of Nigeria, and studying him closely. And as meaningless as everything might seem at that time, as soon as I started reading, identifying words and letters, I started reading files in the law office. As boring as law reports were at the time and meaningless, I read them. And I also studied a lot of young lawyers that were in the law firm at that time. So over the years, unknowingly and unconsciously, it innately became a part of me, unknown to me. And mind you, since my old man was a lawyer, you don't just communicate with him without being mentally alert. He queries you and questions you as regards whatever you say. For example, I want to buy, I need a pencil in school, and I walk up to him and say, Dad, I need pencil. Naturally, you expect that a child in the primary school needs pencil, right? Yeah. Give him pencil and let him go. And you ask me, why do I need pencil? I was always befuddled then, like, how do I explain why I need pencil? I need to write. Write what? Classwork. Okay. What classwork? Mathematics. What in mathematics? It was always so exhausting. So at any point in time, if I considered anything I needed important, I always try to make a case, build a case. It's more or less like making pleadings. Build a case to lead up to the relief that I want. So building that case has to be logical to be able to synergize into the relief that I'm claiming. That is the pencil that I want. So we always had this scenario in the house. I and my brothers, there are 8 of us children, and 6 of us boys, 2 girls. Of course, the girls had no problem. Whatever they said passed. But the boys, you needed to prove whatever you wanted. So we walk up to, you want to ask the old man for something. You get to the door of his room. Some query just comes to you like, what if he asks this? You step back from the door, pace up and down, try to think, what kind of response would I give if he asks this? Then while you're doing that, another of your brothers is trying to go into his bedroom to make a request. Then he stops short at the door, then steps back again. So you see us, about 4 or 5 of us, pacing up and down in that space, trying to build our case up to the relief and to make it immutable. Okay, when any one of us has gotten through with how he's going to present his case, we open the door and walk into the room to ask him. Would you be surprised that despite the energy and mental work we put into preparing our case, he'll just ask one question and the entire case collapses? You just be like, I knew it. Don't worry, Dad. You go back again. Go and prepare your case again. So that was the way it was. So naturally, with that kind of lifestyle, and the feedback I was getting from my old man's friends that, oh, he's a good lawyer. Even his colleagues, when we meet them, they'll be like, oh, your dad, fantastic lawyer. Dad, fantastic lawyer. And colleagues that come to share experiences they had appearing with or against him in court, it made us have the notion that if we are to find ourselves in that space, there's been a standard that has been set. So we have to work hard to attain that standard. I can assure you, it's not every other person that has his dad in the profession that has done well in the profession. It's a personal desire to do well. Like I said, if I was in Yoruba field, I'll do well. If I found myself as a mason, whatever, I intend to do well. So if I have attained this, let's just say God blessed the energy that I put into it to be able to achieve this. But it wasn't a joke, I can assure you.
Thank you so much for that, Dynasty. So my next question now goes to, okay, can we assume now that your dad was a big motivation, and can we say he's your greatest mentor? Because that was my next question, that growing up or while as a young lawyer, who is your mentor? Do you have a mentor, or who are the role models you look up to in the profession?
Okay, thank you. As a child, we have several desires, goals, things we want to achieve. At a point in time, I wanted to be a Kung Fu master. At that time, Bruce Lee was the mentor. Then, I wanted to be an artist. You understand? Leonardo was the mentor at that time. Then at some point, I thought to myself that I want to be a great footballer. Maradona was the mentor. You understand? So I found a way of identifying people in different sectors that I had desire in and making them my mentor. Then I decided to study law. Of course, when you look around, who do you want to make your mentor? You see this person, then you try to trail them and follow their work. By the time you enter their path, it leads back to my dad. Then you meet this person, try to make them your mentor. By the time you go through their path, it leads to my dad. So after doing that for a while, I thought to myself, what's the point? I have my mentor right here. Why am I going up and down looking for a new mentor? So all I did was I understudied him. Fortunately for him, he was available. Then I understudied him, and so far till today, he's still my mentor, because there's still a whole lot I believe I need to learn from him in legal practice. And I'm grateful for having him, not only as my mentor, but he doubles as my father.
That's a good one, sir. That's a good. So my next question now. Some of us we know you as a specialist in contribution. So I would like to ask, then whether you have some problem, most of us have problem, but it's a specialized.
Okay. Specialization. The Nigerian market has not really developed so well to be able to encourage specialization. So basically, I find myself as general practitioner, but most of my jobs are in litigation. I've handled several jobs in project finance, legal advisory in mergers and acquisition, in real estate projects, private equity, on cyber security, cyber law, data protection. I've handled human rights matters, name it. I've handled in several fields of endeavor, and I have managed to be able to come out with a high level of success advising the clients. Yes.
That's a good one. Thank you so much. So my next question now is there any particular case so far in legal profession that finally got to fulfill? You know, might be a problem case, might not even be a problem case, might be a problem that is, but there's a matter you actually put it to one, and then of the day you feel like yes, I actually justice. Do you have any of such cases?
Well, when I look at the long line of cases I've handled over the years, there are several cases which excited me along the line. There are even some that I handled and I was eager to wait for judgment. But strangely, my opposition woke up the night before judgment and said, let's settle. And if my client hears that and says, okay, rather settle than wait for judgment, what do I do? So we settled. But my team who worked with me on that case were so looking forward to the result of the work that they put into the case, considering that we came from a bad situation and developed the case until it had hope of success. So I've had a number of cases, but one of them I refer to is a particular case of a client in Plateau State. There was an order that was obtained against them, and it was to stop their operations. Of course, they were befuddled by the order that was served on them, so immediately they instructed us to handle such a case. I'm trying as much as possible to state the kind of case without having to state the name of the parties. So I may stutter a little bit. At that point, considering the sensitivity of the case, I wasn't even silk then. It was in 2016. Considering the sensitivity of the case, it's normally a kind of case that would have been taken by our principal partner as Chief Olujinmi SAN at the time, but he was not in the country. But I was always someone that was open to challenges, and I wanted to really do something about it. So what did I do? I immediately got the instruction. I drafted papers, sent to him abroad where he was. He made some corrections and additions to it, sent it back, said, yes, go and file. Along the line, some other papers also came up, which I drafted responses to. I sent to him. I didn't get his response. I called him. He said he would work on it. Then it was getting to the third or fourth day, and I was meant to file on the fifth day. When I didn't get any response from him, I thought to myself, I've known this guy for how many years now? For over 40 years. He has never taken a holiday that I was aware of, like break from work. Maybe this is the time he really wants to break from work. Okay, let me go ahead and file. I filed the papers. Then, of course, change of paper, all that. So basically, our strategy was this. Based on the order that was obtained against our client, we moved in to have it set aside. So in doing this, we approached the Court of Appeal to set aside that order, stay the proceedings at the lower court. Like I said, it's a sensitive case for a highly valued client in the Nigerian system. In fact, it's in sports. So while I argued before the court that since an appeal had been entered, the matter should be stayed pending the appeal. The court saw the force of the argument and agreed with us that the matter to be stayed. But in doing so, now made an extra order that is, I know the matter should be stayed while it's on appeal, but I hereby order that this operation in this area must stop until the appeal is decided. So I have to file another appeal based on that and seek another stay of proceedings. You understand? Before, seek a stay of execution of that order before that. Mind you, the return dates on these cases had spaces of 3 days, 2 days, 4 days, 3 days. So I was shuttling Abuja and Jos. I was dashing. And while I was on the express driving, luckily I had someone driving me, a colleague driving me. I was working on my computer to respond to processes. The work was so much that even when we get to court, we get served processes. I'll ask my colleague to hold proceedings while I go and prepare the response. So before even the court sits, I'll prepare the response, filed and serve the other party. And the other party wondered, how do you get these responses out so fast? But I was so sunk in the job, I didn't have time to think about how I was doing it. But it was all about getting it done. I always had my computer and a printer that I carried with me when I was going, if I'm ever going out of jurisdiction for a case, because I know situations do come up. They might have problems with lights, with equipment. I carried paper, letterhead, everything with me. So I responded, I did all that. Okay, the appeal was pending. While the appeal was pending, then the other side filed the process at the lower court. For what? For my client to be held in contempt for not complying with the order which we have appealed. So while that was going on, I had to write to the presiding judge of the Court of Appeal to give us an early date for the hearing of the appeal. Because I felt if the Court of Appeal doesn't take charge of the entire proceedings, anything can happen at the lower court. Then just before we were given a date for the appeal, a date came up at the lower court for the hearing of the contempt proceedings against my client. Of course, we got there, we argued, but curiously, despite the appeal being pending and being brought to the attention of the lower court went ahead to convict my client for contempt. So that was the third appeal. Yes, that was the third appeal. So we filed another appeal and stay of execution of that order. So while we were on appeal, fortunately, soon after we had argued and the ruling was delivered, we were given a date at the Court of Appeal where we now argued the substantive order, the first order. After listening to arguments, we were able to convince the court that the first order which was granted was wrongly granted, and the court set it aside. So, of course, since that was set aside, every other one that came after collapsed. You understand? So it was the kind of case in which all your team members back in the firm in Abuja were eagerly waiting for the result of it, because every 2-3 days I was back to Jos, back and forth. There was a lot of it then. So on the day we went to argue, I think it was just about 3 weeks after arguing that substantive appeal, then the court called us for the judgment. My team was eagerly waiting. Even the client was waiting. The client was in court. When we got that ruling, it was so pleasurable. It was so gratifying that after all the work you did, you got a good result for your client. You understand? And at the end of the day, even though we asked for a stay of proceedings at the lower court, the plaintiff at the lower court abandoned the case. Abandoned the case, haven't seen the force of the defense which we were able to present against them. So that is one of the most satisfying cases I've.
Thanks, thanks so much. So, as the party was this last question, like to advise your women, advice your brain on sick to aspire to take this sick one day, and even some that probably don't want to see, but want to do well
in legal profession. Okay. So first things first. It's something I like doing, like mentoring young lawyers. I like to encourage them that, yeah, it might be difficult starting, but hard work and consistency will get you to a high place in the legal profession. Legal profession is one which requires hard work, and it will reward you at the end of the day. It will definitely reward you. I've said before, anything worth doing at all is worth doing well. Yeah. Most of the young lawyers today are distracted by reward. So they don't face their development in a legal practice. The only way to develop a legal is for you to focus on your development to an extent that you can now expect reward. But if you're just starting out, don't expect reward. Wait for your reward. When I started legal practice, I prayed a strange prayer. I said, God, I do not want money. I want to learn this work, know it, and be confident in it. Then open the doors of blessing then. It's a strange prayer. And because I knew if I made my money early, I will not learn anything. I will not see anywhere to learn anything with anyone. So I went through that, and thank God he has been faithful to the arrangement we had. He has been faithful to the arrangement that we had. So early gratification distracts. If you focus on your own personal development in legal practice, it will reward you at the end of the day.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thanks for coming on the show. Dear viewers, there you have it. Olumide Olujinmi, Essence, and bit of Nigeria, giving us advice on how to. So I really wish some of you out there to put this strange prayer from me. Alright, see you guys some other time. Thank you for staying on the show. Thank you so much, Dennis.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.